Hello, hello, happy Thursday, or whatever day you're watching the replay on. Happy day, happy day. Hello, I am Silka, Heart for Art. I teach people step by step how to paint online and in my studio. Welcome to this week's episode of Hearty Tips with Silka. Today, I am going to show you how to paint the houses on the hills in my Castle Point painting. And you see the houses on the hills? Oh, how close can I get? The houses on the hills in my Castle Point painting. And I'm going to show you how to paint the houses on the hill in my Surfing Lyell Bay. I'm right up in front of the camera. Surfing Lyell Bay painting as well. We're not going to do detailed houses. We're just going to create an impression of them, all right? Because I want to show you how easy it is to paint. If you maybe break down some barriers, if you're a bit nervous or you think it's hard, I want to show you how easy it is and how much fun it is as well, all right? So it's a really nice, simple, easy tutorial today. And I'll tell you about my Castle Point painting and how you can paint your very own as well. So say hi as you're coming on. Now, I'm using StreamYard today for this live, so if you'd like to leave a comment, you may need to give StreamYard permission to show you. It's all to do with the new Apple privacy laws and stuff like that. So if you want to leave a comment, you may need to give permission, but you only need to do that once. Actually, it'd be great if somebody could let me know if this stream is actually working okay. Can you hear me and can you see me okay? I'm hoping you can see me, but can you hear me as well? So let me know in the comments if that's all working good. So today I'm going to start by showing you the simplest version, and that is from my Lyell Bay painting, the simplest version of just painting a hill with houses on it. And we're going to start with that, all right? So I'm going to start with a bristle number 4 brush. So when you want to add any texture to anything, using a coarse bristle brush, how close can I get? There, any sort of coarse brush that's got a bit of texture in it, a bit of roughness will give you, a decent amount of texture. Hello, Ellen. Oh, yes. Thank you very much. And Heather, thank you very much for letting me know you can hear and see me. Oh, good. I've been trialing new streaming platforms because I've been having some issues. So it looks like we've got some good to go. So hello, Ellen and Heather. Thanks for joining me today. So I'm going to start with a bit of light green, and what we're going to do is we're going to paint in layers, and we're going to just create the base colors of our hill first. Now, this happens to be the hill. If you've been to the studio, you'll know that the studio is there, right on the hill there. And if you look really close, you'll see the red dot on top, which is the red roof. So this is the hill on which my house and studio are, but you can paint this as any hill you like. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with a bit of light green, and because light green is a bit transparent, I'm going to add some black. As soon as I find the black, I forgot to put some black on my palette. Tiny little bit of black is all we need. That goes a long way. And essentially what you're going to do is you're going to use the texture of the bristles themselves to just create a bit of texture. All right, you're just going to do lots of little dabs overlapping, and you're not going to blend the colors together. All right, actually I should probably just turn that around so you can see it better, so you don't have to look at me. There you go, forgot about that bit. So you're just going to keep overlapping, and then with a tiny little smidge of black, we're just going to add a little bit of extra darkness. All right, now you decide how dark or how light you want it to be, and you just sort of keep overlapping. And as you're dabbing, you don't want to go over any one spot too often, because what you want it to look like is hills and trees. All right, so we are creating an impression of a hill here. I'm just going to, I don't know, shape my hill as I go. You can use a few other colors. You can use a bit of dark green if you want. You can use any colors you like to create your hills, really. And what we want to do is create areas of light and dark, so it looks like different trees and different, different bushes and different shapes and stuff. I'm just making up a random, totally made up hill shape here now. Might go a bit taller over here. And just do lots of little dabs and let those dabs overlap a little bit, but not too much, because each dab essentially will look like grass or trees or whatever you want it to look like. I've gone a bit lighter now. Whoops. And then again, tiny, tiny little bit of black, not very much. Black is really dominant, so you don't want to have too much. Just a little bit, just to create those lighter and darker patches. And just keep dabbing, keep dabbing. I'm going to try and get roughly along the bottom, straightish line. There we go. Now I'm just using a canvas pad today. These are really good for practicing on. You can buy them in sheets of 20 or 10. They're really awesome for practicing on if you just want to practice your techniques. I got this one from Uncle Bill's, and it was only like $5 or something. So it's got 10 in it. They're really good for practicing. Just as an aside there. So my horizon's a bit crooked, so I'm just going to straighten that up a little bit. Now, if you want some lighter patches, you can just wipe your brush, grab a bit of yellow. You can add some lighter patches. You know, maybe there's a bit of gorse on this hill, or what do you call them? Flame trees, although those are probably a bit more orange, aren't they? And you just sort of keep dabbing. And what you get is a nice texture. You get a nice texture, right? So you don't want to go back and forth because that'll take all the texture out of your brush strokes. The bristle brush is awesome. I can never say it. Bristle brush is awesome for just creating that, you know, a bit of roughness and a bit of texture in your brush strokes. So once we've got that down, you can, you know, you decide if you want some darker patches, you put maybe a bit of more dark green in, and just sort of break it all up and create an illusion of a hill with trees and bushes and stuff on it. Then what we want to do, just light dabs, and you don't want to use too much paint. If you use too much paint, it's going to, you won't have as much texture, all right? So once we've done that, it's basically small little squiggly dabs. We allow the paint to create that texture of the trees and stuff and give that, you know, impression. It's an impressionist painting. So you give the illusion that the detail is there. So you give the illusion that if you were to walk closer and walk into the trees, that all the detail is there, but it's actually not. All right. So that's the whole point of impressionism. And now you can use more colors. You can use different colors, anything you like. But then we want to dry it. Okay. And we're going to put grass. Good. My nails are put blow dry. We're going to paint the houses over the top in a second. All right. Now, if you've painted with me before, you'll know my shiny wobble test, which is the way you can test whether your painting is dry. If you wobble it in the light, anything, you can see a little bit of shiny there. I don't know if you can see that as well. There's a bit of shiny. Anything that's shiny is still wet. So I've got a few little wet patches here. We want to put our houses on top, and we don't want our houses to be green. So let's dry it a bit more. So you can see all I've done, really, really simple. All I've done is just use my little bristle brush. I've got a number 4. If you're doing a bigger painting, you can use a bigger one. And I've just dabbed randomly with a few different colors, and I've created this beautiful illusion of a hill with bushes and trees. And that is really how simple it is. It is that simple, all right? Just changing your colors every now and then and alternating what colors on your brush. And that's it. I've just created this beautiful illusion of a hill. So if you put that into a landscape painting, it's going to look awesome. You can put some more hills behind it if you like. And now we're going to put some houses on. All right. So I'm going to use a little 1/4-inch flat brush. Now these are great if you just want to do some really quick houses. So you can see I've got this whole hill full of houses here, and that's just done exactly like I'm doing now. I've just put the green base on first. And now I'm going to put the houses on top. Now I'm going to use white, but I don't want the white to be solid white. All right. I want it to be a little bit diluted so that they're not like rah, freshly painted white houses on the hill. So I'm going to dip my brush in water. All right. And just thin that a little bit. And a tiny little dip of black as well. Now I don't want to do too much black, but I just wanted to sort of create an off-white sort of color, and I want them to be a little bit see-through, so some of the color still comes through. And then I've got my nicely thinned sort of off-white color here. All right, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to just do random little dabs. All right, random little dabs on top. Boop, there's a house, there's a house, there's a house, and that's it. All right, I'll show you closer up. I'm just doing random little dabs. I might hold the brush sideways and do a smaller house, but it's literally random little dabs. Some of them wider, some of them taller, but just loads of random little white dabs. And these are all going to be houses, all right? And I've just used that thin paint. And like I said, you don't want it to be too thick, because when it goes on thick, it's just like somebody's just painted the house with bright, fresh paint like that, all right? So just a little bit at a time, some wider, some bigger, some smaller, some right next to each other, some overlapping. If you want skinnier ones, just use your brush on the side profile, nice tall little buildings, but you can put as many or as few as you want. And now what we've done is create the illusion of houses, all right? And that's it. You know, you can do some flatter ones, clump a few together, have a nice big flat somewhere. You know, there's a big flat. There we go. And have a few different shapes and sizes. It's key not to have them all the same size, because it'll just look a bit weird. It'll look like a, you know, one of those manufactured suburbs. And of course, I might have to put the studio up on the hill up here as well. Cool. So that's it. Little ones, big ones, sideways ones, skinnier ones, longer ones. And don't have them all evenly spaced either. It looks a little bit more natural when there's different shapes and spaces in between. And then what we do is we just add a bit of color for the roofs. And you can just wipe your brush. You don't have to clean it. You get to decide what color roofs you have. You know, I might just take a little bit of blue, and we're just going to do a tiny little line on top of the house. You know, you can do like triangles like that. It's probably too small. Can you even see? Can you see that roof? Tell me if you can see that little blue roof, or is it too small? I could do a long one, you know, but I'm just adding the smallest little detail. Let me know if you can see the roofs, or if they're too small. I've got it as close to the camera as I can get it. But that's it. You know, maybe do another one here, do a side slant roof, do some slanting the other way, and again spacing them different, not all together, all the blue roofs together. You can do some, what other colors are roofs? Red. My roof is red. We definitely have to have the red roof on top, and my house is a really strange shape, so it's like that. So that's my house. There you go. So it's just lots of little touches of the different colors. You can do as many colors as you like. We'll just have a green one, we'll do a dark green one. Or you can just leave them as is. And there you go. What we've done is just create a hill, right? Okay, this isn't a whole painting, obviously, but if you put a beach in front of that, or a road, or the sea, or whatever, put a sky in the background, then all of that together will work to create a beautiful little painting. Oh, Ellen can see my roofs. Lovely. Thanks, Ellen. So yeah, it's that easy. That's all I've done. So like I said, if you put some other elements in, I've got a nice big surf wave in here, because there's a lot of big surf down on the beach there. So if you put some element, I've just done this little tiny portion, all right, and that's how easy it was. So if you put other elements in and around it, you will have a beautiful painting. So go and have a practice of that. Boom, that easy. All right, try different brushes, different house sizes, colors, whatever. And then as an extra little tip, if you want, where's my number one brush gone? My brushes have a habit of rolling on the floor. Oh, there it is. I've got it. If you want to add a little splash of pohutukawa, you know, because I've got beautiful pohutukawa trees, and in summer they all bloom everywhere along the beach. You could just add a few little dots and a bit of a curve. There we go. We've got some pohutukawa trees in bloom. And that's it. Just using a small brush, tip of a small brush, you just add a few little blossoms of pohutukawa all along the shore. You know, if this is a beach, for example, you could easily turn it into, you know, blooming pahoots. Beautiful. If you really want to make it look like a tree, you can get a bit more of the dark green and just using the point of your brush, just put a few little green lines underneath to make it look like tree trunks. But again, we're not trying to create a perfect impression of a perfect painting of a tree. We're just trying to create an impression of a tree. All right, so now you got the impression that there's pookawas and bloom along the bottom there. Lovely. Easy as. All it was just the tip of the brush, a few little dots. We have trees, we have houses. Easy as. All right, so that was the easy one. Now I'm going to show you how to do the houses and hills from my Castle Point painting. Wherever I put it, oh, it slid underneath there. So this is basically it's who's been to Castle Point? Has anyone been to Castle Point? I love it out there. It's one of my favorite places. It is like one of the top places in the whole of the country to go see. But I'm going to show you the hill over here. Where is it? Over, oh, big shadowy finger. There, this one. I'm going to show you how to paint that hill. It's a hill with pine trees and stuff on it and a few houses. That's probably more houses than there are there, but as the artist, you have the liberty of painting whatever you like. So again, I'm going to grab my bristle brush. Oh, it said it right that time, bristle brush. I've got a little number 4 bristle brush that's bristle to give me that texture. I'm going to use the same brush. And this time I'm going to do the pine trees on the hill. So this time I'm going to use a bit of the deep green. And I'm going to add a little bit of cool blue into it. All right. So I'm just going to mix myself a bit of a pine color. All right. So, but you can do this any color you like. So same again, you don't want too much paint on your brush. If you have got too much, you can just wipe it on your rag. It's all good. And we're going to paint our hills, and it's the same principle as before. We're going to paint, just do lots of dabs and create that shape of the hill. All right. And again, we want to add light and dark areas of the hill. So we're just going to do the main sort of shape. This is clumps of trees this time. All right. So it's a hill, but it's got trees on it, like big pine trees. So I'm just going to create, sorry, I'm covering up what you can see. I'm going to create my little clumps of trees, smaller clump down here. And as we're painting this one, we want to create those light and dark shadows, and we can use the brush as we go. So you can see, if you look closely, you can see I've got lighter areas on one side of the tree clumps and darker on the other. So we're going to do that. As we go, I'm going to put the light side on the left. So I'm just going to get a little bit of white, tiny little bit of white, and I'm just going to do the same principle of just dabbing into the paint to create that lighter side of that clump of trees. And I can do the same on the other one. Now you want to do this while the paint is still wet, obviously, because once it's dry, it's not going to blend anymore. All right. And then wipe that white off and I carry on. I'll do another little clump down here maybe. Thinking about where my houses might go, but each clump, essentially, each dab of your brush creates another little clump of trees and can potentially be, light and shadow each one. So the more sort of lights and darks and differentiations between your lights and shadows that you have, the more depth and dimension your painting will have. I have actually done a blog on that one as well, on how to, using lights and shadows to create 3 dimensions. So I've got a strange shaped hill today. Doesn't matter. It's a made up hill. It's just for the purposes of showing you how to paint houses on hills. So maybe I'll just make that one a bit bigger. So all I'm doing is just dabbing, the same as we did up here, lots of dabs. And then I'm going to get some white, and I'm going to use that to create the lighter parts of each section. This is a very strange hill, but it's purely for the purposes of showing you what it looks like. All right, so might put a few more little patches down here. Now they're quite bright, those ones, but I'm just doing that so you can see it a little more clearly. So once I've got my white dabs on there, so you can see it definitely looks like highlights on the hills now. they're a bit too dominant, so I'm just going to dab them in a little more and soften that transition back a bit so that it's not just boom, white. All right, soften it back again. And all I'm doing is just dabbing, lots of little dabs, dab, 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 dabbity, dab, dab. All right, create a little light patch in there. And then same again on the other side, the tiniest little bit of black. All right, tiny little dip of black. Like, you don't need much. Black dominates really quickly. And then you can create a darker side. You can create the dark side, so to speak. You can create darker patches within your tree clumps, you know. And again, I've just created these strange shaped hills just to show you the difference. You know, I've kind of deliberately done these shapes. All right, so we're just dabbing, dabbing, dabbing. If you don't like it, if you don't want those shapes, paint over it. Easy. We'll just join these two together. Look at that. Just got a bit more of the dark paint. I've just joined them together. I can create you know, get a bit of black and create a darker space there. Easy. Easy as. Just like that. All right. So I've got some lighter patches and some darker patches, and it looks like, you know, the curves of the hill. Alan's asking, what is the brush again you're using for the hills and trees? It is a bristle bright brush, but essentially any bristle brush that's just got thicker, coarser bristles on it, that will give you a nice bit of texture. You can do it with a flat brush, but it tends to ruin the flat brush a little bit. These brushes are designed, you know, for you to be a little bit more aggressive with them. So any bristle brush, essentially. There's heaps of different ones. If you want a little bit of help knowing what brushes to buy, I've done a blog on that as well. Go and have a look on my website, and scroll back a little, you know, a little bit, and it'll tell you what brushes, what art supplies to get or something like that. There's lots of handy tips on the blog. All right, so I've created my hill. All right. If you've got any transitions that are a bit too harsh, you can put a bit of the original color back in. Just, you want a nice soft transition between the lights to the darks, all right? And not go over it too much because you want to keep that texture as well. So once again, we want to dry that so we can put our hills on top, all right? Our houses on top. So I'm just going to give it a bit of blow dry. Now, that is a bit noisy, but it's way better than watching paint dry. We could sit here and wait for it to dry. So once again, I'm going to get my little 1/4-inch brush. This is a 1/4-inch flat brush. If you want bigger houses, use a bigger brush. But I'm just going to use my little 1/4-inch brush because I want some nice little houses, all right? So we're just going to create these little houses on the hill now, okay? And you want to think about the shape of your hill this time. This one's a little bit flatter, but this one's actually got clumps, so you don't want a house like on top of a tree, right? So you want to think about where you put them. And same again, we're going to use that diluted white, a little bit diluted, not too much, don't make it too runny. And we're just going to, I'm going to make it a little bit stronger this time. And we're just going to do the same thing, the exact same thing. All right, we're going to just use the profile of a brush to just create our house shapes. All right, it's a little bit runny there. Now you can, these are all batches. In Castle Point, you've got lots of batches, and you definitely don't want them all to be the same shape and size. You want some smaller, some taller. Rotate your brush around, create different shapes. Few on the beach, maybe there's some over here as well, but you definitely don't want them all to be the same shape and the same size. Okay, so again, we're just creating the base of the house. Maybe this is a 2-story one with a thing on the side. I don't know. And this has got a bit out the side, and then up there, oh, that's the garage. Maybe that's the garage. But just don't, if you do them all the same shape and size, it will look odd. All right, so we've got a cluster down here. maybe there's only a couple of private ones over here as well. Oops, have I gone off screen? No. Sorry, I get carried away when I paint. And then same again. You know, we just put our little roofs on. I'm going to do some yellow roofs this time. So we just take a little bit of yellow paint and just using the tip of the brush, not flat. We're just using the tip of the brush. We can just pop some roofs on. So that one's got a nice, oh, I didn't get any paint. That one's going to have a nice yellow roof. There you go. And we can have some red roofs and some blue roofs. I'll do the blue roofs first. And again, you can do some, you know, it's just a light tap with your brush. You can do some on the side, exactly the same as we did with the first one. I'm using slightly brighter colors this time. That one's got a double roof on the garage as well. Some that way, some sideways. And then I'll wipe my brush and grab a bit of red. I'd like a bit of red. I like red. The roof of my studio and house up here is like screaming. It's called Monza Red. The original color was called Red Hot Mama, but I've repainted it and it's called Monza Red now, which is like the race cars. So it is ridiculously bright red, which I love. So since I bought this place, red is now my favorite color. Okay, what other color can we put on there? We can put some light blue on, maybe. The houses have light blue. You can put any colors on you like, essentially. It's your painting. You decide what colors you want. I'm going to put some light blue on now. But again, you want to just make sure it's not at all uniform, that all the blue houses aren't in the same place. You know, it's the whole randomness of it, which usually makes a painting look more authentic. You know, if it's too uniform, it doesn't look authentic anymore. And again, same as before, we're just creating an illusion of houses. All right, we're not creating all the details of the houses. That's the beauty of Impressionism. You just give the impression that there are houses and that the detail is actually there, that if you were to walk into this painting, you know, there'd be fully formed houses there for you. So how's that? Are we liking that? See, we've just created a beautiful little hill with some houses on it. Nice impressionist, easy little houses. Was that not like super, super simple? Give me a thumbs up if you thought that was just super simple and fun and easy. And again, if you put a whole bunch of stuff around it, so at the moment we've just done this little bit here. All right, that's it, just that tiny little bit. If you put another hill in the background, okay, using the same technique, a different shade, all right, slightly different shade. As hills get further away, they get darker because of the atmospheric conditions. Thanks, Ellen. I do make it look super easy, and that's because it is super easy. All you need is someone to show you the steps, and the rest is easy peasy, lemon squeezy, as we say. Where are you watching from today, Ellen? I'm in lovely cold Wellington today. But this is just up the coast, Castle Point. So yeah, like you've just done this bit here. If you do another hill at the back, and that hill does actually look like that out there, you know, and then go and watch my other blog. There's one on how to paint grasses. I show you how to paint this grass, and then you've almost got the whole painting. All right. Cool. Yeah. So there you go. Paint your other hills, have a bit of a practice. Now you know how to paint an impression of houses and hills. Super easy, right? Super, super easy. Heather says, looking good. Thanks, lovely Heather. So this is just a little portion of my Castle Point painting and my Lyle Bay painting. Just to give you something nice and quick and easy to practice on. And, you know, another little extra thing to learn. Nice and simple and easy. That's my goal, is always to break it down. Let me swivel back a bit. My goal is always to break everything down into super easy, simple steps, so that when you join all those super simple little easy steps together, you get a beautiful painting. Now, if you want to have a bit more practice painting this one, or painting the houses and hills here, I will be teaching Castle Point in the studio very, very soon. If you are in Wellington and you want the full art experience, and you can actually get this one online as an online painting tutorial. If you are anywhere else in the world or New Zealand, this one is available online as an online painting tutorial. I just wanted to show you a little bit how to paint just this one little bit, just to give you a sneak peek of the painting, but also to show you how easy it is. You know, if you just break it down, rather than looking at the whole painting and thinking, gosh, I could never do that, you know, you just look at one little piece at a time. You've just done this little piece, but all the other pieces are just as easy. All right. So now you know that that's easy. The rest is easy too. Okay. So if you go and practice your hills and your house painting skills, as in this types of houses. Oh, thanks, Ellen. That's a lovely comment that I'm easy to listen to. I'm going to go and do an online one. I have done the TUI so far. I would love to see your TUI if you haven't already sent it to me. DM it to me. I would love to see it. Or have I already? Have you already sent it to me? I can't remember. But yeah, send it to me. I'd love to. I love seeing your finished paintings. I don't always get to see them, so I love it when you send them to me. But yeah, it's so easy, so fun. So if you want to do this one, go grab it online. There's other ones there as well. The TUI is there as well. There's Kiwi Summer. There's a sunflower. There's lots of fun ones. So pop over to my website and go to the menu under on-demand painting tutorials. Easy as. Or if you want to come join me in the studio and paint this one, look for upcoming events or upcoming studio events. So online, just like what I did today, if you want to paint the whole thing, you get a full video tutorial of me showing you step by step the entire painting, and you will have a beautiful Castle Point painting to hang on the wall. Who's been to Castle Point? I love Castle Point. It's like the best place in the whole world. So that one I'm going to teach in the studio August the 14th. You get the full art experience in the studio, everything you need. I provide all of it and afternoon tea. I'll give you a canvas, brushes, paints, everything. And afternoon tea, Tim Tams and cake and yumminess. Now, if you're watching this on replay and this one's already been in the studio, it's a popular one. It's a hugely popular one. I get great results. So keep an eye on the upcoming events. It will most likely come back. So today I've just shown you a small portion of two of my paintings. Like I said, just to show you that when you break something down into simple steps and then you add all those simple steps together, it's not hard, all right? It's not only easy, but you will get great results, all right? Because painting is easier than you might think, way easier if you just get someone to show you how. As long as you can hold a paintbrush and follow simple step-by-step instructions, you will be able to create any of my paintings, I promise. All right. So let me sum up what I taught you today. I started by showing you the simplest version of grass. It's literally just a few, like there, right, like that one. I said grass, didn't I? I meant hills and trees, hills and houses. I showed you how simple that was, just with a few little dabs, changing your color every now and then to give it a bit more lights and shadows and areas of interest. And then I showed you how to do a similar thing. This one's more pine trees with from my Castle Point painting. Same principle with a little brush later over the top to add your houses. All really, really easy. Really, really easy. And I told you a little bit about my Castle Point painting as well. If you'd like to come and paint that one. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed my tutorial. Do like it and love it and share it and tell other people. If there's anyone else wants to learn to paint, get them to show them my tutorials. There's loads of them on my blog. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to subscribe to my channel. Then you will always see any new blogs and things as well. Or any new tutorials that I add or free paintings or stuff like that. And then go practice painting hills and houses. Have fun. Have fun with it. And if you want more painting tips, like I said, and free tutorials, there's a few really simple. There's a kingfisher, there's a flower field, there's a gnome. There's lots of free little paintings to go and practice on my blog as well. So pop over to my website, heartforart.co.nz, and go check those out. Have a browse. And I will see you for my next episode of Hearty Tips with Silka next week. I hope you had fun, found that helpful. Let me know what you enjoyed the best. And hopefully see you behind a paintbrush soon. Enjoy the rest of your week. Bye.